Hello, I'm fellow student Billy Carter, student at Arizona Christian University, majoring in secondary education with an emphasis on mathematics. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Chapter 6, Section 1, Order of Operations. In order of operations, you must know these terms: algebra, variables, algebraic expression, and solution. Algebra is a generalized form of arithmetic. The concepts of what we will be doing today are algebra. Variables represent numbers or values. Algebraic expressions are a collection of variables, numbers, parentheses, and order of operations. Solution: the numbers that replace the variable to make a statement true. Your variables can consist of x, y, z, a, b, pretty much any letter. Your solutions are the answers that make the algebraic expressions make sense. They connect them together. Looking at examples, I have drawn up different variables, algebraic solutions, expressions, and solutions. And here are how you're able to connect them. So we look at number 1 being a variable, for it is a letter that represents something. Number 2 being a solution because it is the answer, y equals 2. Number 3 being an algebraic expression because it's not solved yet, but it still has a variable in it. Number 4 being a solution because it has the value that a variable equals. Number 5 being an algebraic expression for it's not solved yet. And number 6 being a variable for nothing's equal to it. And here you go for the answer. Now I want you to try it. I want you to write an example of a variable, 2 examples of a variable, algebraic expression, and a solution. Pause the video while you do that. Alright, for variable, you could have gotten any 2 letters I would have accepted. For an algebraic expression, I would have accepted any sort of expression where something equals something else. With a variable in it, that would also be helpful. A solution: any variable equaling a value. These make these true and make them to make sense. Order of operations. Getting down to order of operations. Whenever solving an algebraic expression, you will use a thing we call PEMDAS. PEMDAS is an acronym for parenthesis, exponent, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. PEMDAS is the order of operations you will use to solve any algebraic expression. When it comes to PEMDAS, parentheses must come first, exponents must come second. If those aren't there, then you don't have to use those. But when it comes to multiplying and dividing, those can be used loosely. So if you have a multiplication and then a division, you must find out from left to right which operation is being asked for first. Same thing with adding and subtracting. So whichever one's being asked for first, you will do that one, and then you will use the next order of operation. As stated right here in my side notes, parentheses must be done first, exponents done second. When you have both multiplication and division, the next operation, which is ever one comes first from left to right, is to be done. So for solving, I want you guys to solve 2 times 8 plus 3 squared. Please pause while solving. Alright, here's your final answer. You have 2 times 8 plus 3 squared. Order of operations tells us that we must do parentheses first, but there's nothing else to solve within the parentheses. So now we have to solve for the exponent. And that we get 3 times 3, which equals 9. And we also have the next order of operation, which is 2 times 8, which is 16. So once solving that, you have 16 plus 9, which left over you have 25. Next problem I want you to solve, and then pause it while you solve, and then unpause it so you can get the answer. Alright, for this answer, you have to first do the order of operation division. 16 divided by 4, which will leave you with 4. So now you're stuck with 4 minus 8 plus 3. Now remember, order of operation, adding, subtracting, whichever you're choosing first to go between these two is the one first that comes from left to right. So you're going to subtract first, and that'll give you negative 4 plus 3, which equals negative 1. Now if you were to make a mistake, you would have done negative 8 plus 3, which would have gave you negative 1 as well. But when you have much more complicated problem, it ends up being harder not using this direct order. Now when it comes down to number 3, this one could be a tricky one. So I want you to solve this and while you pause it and then unpause it. Alright, for number 3, you're going to solve inside the parentheses first because that's what a parenthesis is. You're solving what's inside so what's outside can be added to it. So you end up with negative 2, and then outside you have the squared exponent. And now be careful you don't make the mistake of leaving the 2 on the outside of the parentheses, because that means no matter what, your answer is going to be negative. When it's inside the parentheses, it goes into the multiplication. So you have negative 2 squared, which is going to give you negative 2 times negative 2, and that will equal 4. All right, moving on. I want you to try these on your own. You have 3 over 1 minus 2 over 1 squared. Those are in the parentheses. Please pause while trying. All right, so we are left with we have 3 over 1 minus 2 over 1. That leaves us with 1 over 1 to squared. Now, after doing that, we see that there's the division right here. We're going to do the division first before the multiplication, which leaves us 1 times 1 over 1. Now we have a multiplication before division, so we're going to times this to that fraction, which leaves us a 1 over 1 and this 1. It's a whole lot of 1s. All right, so the next problem I want you to solve while you're on pause. All right, so following the order of operation, we should do multiplication first. 35. So you're 35 divided by 5 plus 3. Following PEMDAS, you have, division first, next. And so now the ending result, you have 7 plus 3, which will equal 10. Lastly, I want you to solve this problem right here. All right. Now, if that was kind of tricky, do not feel bad, for this takes a little bit of practice to understand. You're going to solve inside the parentheses again, even if it's addition. What goes inside the parentheses is what's solved for first. So now you have 10 in the parentheses, and now you're up to division. These 2's can cancel out of each other since they're basically the same value. And then you're stuck with, at the end, 10 minus 10. The parentheses can go away since there's nothing else to work inside of it, and the final answer is 0. These concepts may be a little harder, so let's see. So when trying to find a variable for it, don't be surprised if it's the wrong answer. Just, it can always help by checking it in and checking your answer and putting the variable back in the original expression. So for this one, I've gotten 3x plus 5 equals 11. Whenever solving for variables, you want to get the variable by itself. So by working towards that, you'll use not necessarily order of operations as much, but you'll need to know which one you'll need to use when. When you have something added to a variable, you're going to subtract that to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the second side. So now, because we've subtracted 5 by both sides, we end up with 3x equals 6. That final answer will give you x equals 2 when you divide the 3's to both sides. For this problem, I've ended up with a equals 2. You do that by doing the exponent first, subtracting both sides to get the a alone, and doing cross multiplication, which will end up with 2a equals 4, which the value of a is 2. Now, with this problem, you're going to do as parentheses first, solve inside as order of operations says, and then with nothing less to work inside of the parentheses, you can get rid of them. H plus 1 equals h plus 1. Now, no matter what value you put in for h, it's going to be the same statement. So you can get the h by itself if you wanted to make it even more simple, but as of the question, as the expression asks, the answer is going to be infinite amount of answers. So moving on to the final examples for using order of operations to find variables. I want you to pause and solve for this problem. Alright, now using order of operations, you want to get the exponent out of the way first. So you're going to do 3 times 3, 2c plus 9 equals 17. Next, you want to get 2c by itself, so you subtract 9 to both sides, end up with 2c equals 8, and what your final answer would be c equals 4. Now try this one, pause it, and then unpause it to work through the answer with me. Okay, so next we have inside the parentheses, once again, we have negative 5, nothing left to work inside, so you can get rid of the parentheses, equals 15, and negative 5 plus a equals 15. And then getting rid of the 5 on both sides, you will have a equals 20. Lastly, work out this one on pause. Alright, so now you have something inside the parentheses, but there's nothing really to work out because a is not a value given yet. You have to find it. So we're going to work this exponent while multiplying on this side since there's nothing else to do over here. You will have 4a plus 9, 4 over a plus 9 equals 12 minus 1. If you do the order of operations right, on this side you only have subtraction left. On this side you want to get rid of 9 on both sides. So in the ending result you will get 4 over a equal to 2. And then like the last problem, you want to cross multiply on this. So that'll turn to 2a equals 4. And then